Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kira and today I'm bringing you another adult colouring haul. This haul is going to be split up into two different sections. The first half is just going to be a normal haul showing you the bits and pieces that I've picked up since the last haul on my channel. But the second half of the video is where things are going to get a little bit more interesting. I've been really enjoying pushing myself out of my comfort zone recently, taking on some challenges, and so I thought I would finally pick up some of the most intimidating colouring books on my Amazon wishlist. But we're going to ease ourselves into those books by starting off with some less intimidating colouring supplies. I do want to say for all of the products, if they're available, I'll have them linked in my Amazon storefront, which you can find in the description, or I might have some affiliate links available as well, which you can find down below. First, I'm going to show you the products that I picked up for the oil pastels video that I shot in January. I was sent this gorgeous set of 72 oil pastels from Paul Rubens, and if you watched that video, you'll know that these worked like an absolute dream. That was my first time ever using oil pastels, and I will admit that it's probably not going to be my preferred medium on a day-to-day basis, but I do enjoy having some oil pastels in my collection for when I want to do some more realistic backgrounds, I suppose. I especially loved the clouds I was able to create with these oil pastels in that video, so I think I'll definitely do that again. But yeah, on a day-to-day basis, I don't think you'll see me working with oil pastels too often, just because I don't like getting too messy with my colouring pages. I prefer to be clean. I don't mind if the page gets messy, I just don't want to get messy. But I do want to say that if you're interested in picking up some oil pastels for yourself, these here are a great set and I would recommend them. Now I did pick up two other products in order to film that video because in order to use oil pastels in your colouring books, you do need something to set them in place. You can get specific oil pastel setting spray, but it is quite expensive. As I said, I don't anticipate myself using oil pastels that frequently, so I decided to go down the matte acrylic medium route. And as far as I can tell from the three backgrounds that I did in that video, this worked really well. I will say that it still has a slight sheen to the page, and I think that's just from the Liquitex mixing together with the oil pastels, so there is going to be a slight oily sheen on the page, but I have noticed no transfer from the oil pastels to the opposite page, which is what we want to see. I then also picked up these blending brushes, which I saw on Shell's Colouring Journeys channel. These are so good for blending out oil pastels. They almost create a soft pastel effect. I haven't washed them since doing that video. I don't know how easily the pigment is going to come off the brushes, but my plan is to kind of have each blending brush to be a different color so I don't necessarily have to wash them after every use. I think it came with 10 brushes in total, so that's a good amount to have one color per brush. And I could see these working really well for other mediums as well. I think they are actually supposed to be for distressed inks, but they work great with oil pastels as well. The next two products are from the brand Ohuhu. They're both acrylic marker sets, and I showed you me using them in that Can I Color Like a Coloring Book Artist video, and oh my goodness, since that video, I think these have become my new favorite acrylic markers. I still love my Artex and I do prefer them for the color range, but for the actual opacity and quality, these Ohuhu acrylic marker sets are phenomenal. Do I want to embarrass myself by trying to pronounce the name of this set? Nahuku? How did I go? So the Nahuku acrylic marker set is 24 brush acrylic markers. The color range is probably more on the earthier tone side. There are still some vibrant blues and greens in there, but in comparison to the other acrylic marker set that I'm about to show you, these are more muted in vibrancy. And I'm also such a fan of the cases that these acrylic markers come in. The quality is top notch. Now moving on to the second set. This is my favorite out of the two. Whoa! That is some live footage of how clumsy I am on a day-to-day basis. And this comes with 24 colors, but 48 markers in total. So you've got a fine tip option and a broad tip option for each marker. And I still just can't get over the opacity of these markers. It is seriously incredible. And the fine tip white acrylic marker in this set has easily become my new go-to. Say goodbye to my Posca white paint pen. The only problem is that I don't think you can purchase just the white fine tip markers by themselves. I think you have to purchase the whole set in order to get it. So that is a major downfall in that department. Next up, we have the goodies that I was sent by Sarah Renee Clark. I'm still shocked that she knows my channel and wanted to send me stuff. So if you did see that video already, you would know that I didn't only receive an early release copy of her new coloring book, Vibrant Wilds, but I also received a bunch of other goodies from her. She sent me 3 random color cube cards, which I feel like I should do a challenge with these cards. I think that would be a fun video idea. She then sent me one of her sticker books, where this book here is full of stickers that you can color in yourself. I bought 2 of these books actually for my mum for Christmas, so I kind of know the vibe of these books already. And my plan for this sticker book is to not actually use them in a planner, but to use them in my coloring pages. I spoke about this already, but there is this gallery wall of picture frames in Sarah's book, her new coloring book. And some of the frames are empty, and I thought it would be really cool to fill up some of those frames with a few stickers from this book. It'd be really interesting to see if I can blend these stickers into other coloring books as well that aren't necessarily in Sarah's illustration style. And then we have the piece de la resistance, this stunning 2025 coloring planner. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't use a planner in my day-to-day life. I used to be quite the bullet journaler, but then I found adult coloring and that sort of filled up my creative cup. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with this planner. Obviously we're in March now and it feels wrong for me to start a planner 3 months into the year. So I'm thinking I could turn it into something else, maybe like a scrapbook, junk journal kind of vibe. Or alternatively, I just leave it clean and pristine and keep it as a memento and a souvenir for Sarah sending me this. The next 2 supplies I picked up recently and haven't shown you guys on the channel yet. The first supply isn't super exciting, but it's kind of exciting to me because it's my first time owning a product like this, and it is the Derwent pencil extenders. I'm finally getting to the stage where some of my pencils are getting really tiny, so it's hard to hold them, hard to sharpen them. I don't know if you can sharpen them in these, but regardless, they're helpful for coloring. And these pencil extenders are definitely not the cheapest that you can get on Amazon or probably several websites. And my first initial instinct, the budget queen within me, was like, I'll just find the cheapest ones and pick those up. But you know, as I've been going into adulthood, I've realized it is better to just spend that little bit extra on higher quality products that last longer rather than cheaper products that only last a year or 2. You end up saving money, I think, in the long term, and coloring is something I want to do until the end of my days, so I might as well buy a good quality product. So that's why I got the Derwent brand of these, and from what I can tell, they are great quality. Now the last supply I have to show you in this haul is a set of pencils I've had my eye on for a while. It is the 72 set of Brute Funer Macaron pencils. I actually haven't swatched them yet, so I can't tell you my honest opinion. My first ever set of colored pencils were Brute Funers, and they still hold a special place in my heart, but my favorite pencils within that set are the more light pastel tones. So I thought, why not pick up a set dedicated just towards that? And when I compare these pencils to the 160 set that I already own, I actually think the original Brute Funers that I owned maybe aren't actual Brute Funers. You can't purchase them anymore on Amazon, and the Amazon listing didn't actually say Brute Funers in the title. So yeah, that's got me thinking that the original set of Brute Funers that I owned aren't actually Brute Funers and they're just random knockoffs. But anyway, we'll see how these compare to that other set that I own. Alright, now it's time to get into the colouring book section of this haul. Before I get into my intimidating purchases, I want to show you 2 other books that I've added to my colouring book collection recently. First is obviously Vibrant Wilds. I won't harp on about this book too much because I have a dedicated video to it already on the channel. But as I always do in my colouring haul videos, I'm not going to do a full flip through of the book, but I'm going to show you the top 5 pages that I'm most excited to colour in each book. So the first page I'm really excited to colour in Vibrant Wilds is this lantern page that is right at the beginning. I have seen a similar page to this in a Hannah Carlson book. I've seen a few people colour it and I think it's absolutely incredible. So I want to kind of take the vibes of those colorists and apply it to this one here. In my head, I'm picturing sort of a maroon vignette where the outer edges are darker in a maroon color, and then obviously you have the light coming out of the lanterns. I think that would look really cool. I already said I was very excited to color these 2 pages in that previous video, but I still can't get over how stunning this double page spread is. I feel like it's a double page spread. I really want to try and get a semi-realistic water background going for these 2 pages, and then have really vibrant rainbow colors for all the elements on this anchor and this wheel here. The next one I'm really excited to color is this compass here. I think Sarah actually colored this in one of her advanced shading videos on YouTube, and I thought it'd be really cool to try and, I don't know, recreate that or get inspiration from it. And as I'll talk about later in the video, you'll know that I am not confident when it comes to coloring portraits. I haven't really done any yet in the past. This page is actually colored in one of the photos when you go on the website to purchase this book, and it is phenomenal. She's created such depth and realism in that page, and I'd love to give that a go for myself with this one right here. And then the final page I'm really excited to color in this book is this bouquet of flowers, this vase of flowers. There is something really mindless and tranquil about coloring flowers to me. I feel like I can somewhat shut my brain off when I'm coloring it. I don't have to think too hard. So I can imagine some really bright, bold, vibrant colors here, some sort of fun water medium background, and maybe I'll add some fun patterns to the vase on the bottom as well. And the final book I'm going to show you that's not within the intimidation category, though it kind of could be by how much fur there is in this book, but it is Lulu Mayo's new coloring book, A Million Kittens. I can say with absolute certainty, this is my absolute favorite book that Lulu Mayo has illustrated. I feel like with every one of her books, her drawing just gets better and better, and this one has so much detail in it. She's done an amazing job at illustrating these kittens, and honestly, I could see myself coloring every single page in this book. However, I have picked out 5 that I would want to color most. I think this might be the first time Lulu Mayo's included small victory style pages in her work. And I think because it's something she's never done before, those pages are really drawing my eye the most just because it's fresh, new, exciting. And look at these kittens in little jars and bowls holding all these cute little sweet treats. Seriously, whenever I flip through this book, there's always a smile on my face because the kittens just make my heart absolutely melt. The second page I'm excited to color is this one here with the cat in the beret. I have no idea why I'm so attracted to this page, but something about the frock that this kitten is wearing is just freaking adorable. And you could either leave the background blank so that the illustration really pops off the page once you color it, or you could have some real fun with adding your own background. And then this page is on my radar because I saw Erica from Elm Colors color it, and whenever I see an amazing completed page from someone else, it gets me really inspired to tackle that page myself. And I think this might be a good page to tackle next month for the Easter season. Obviously, there's nothing explicitly Easter about it, but something about a wicker basket just screams Easter to me. We then have another small victory style page, and I can't get over these kittens cuddling these baby koalas. How freaking adorable is that? There's something about the mixture of cats in these pots as well that tickles my fancy. I don't know how I would tackle the background for these pages though. I'm thinking maybe some sort of paint splatter behind each little vignette could be kind of cute. And then the final page I'm most excited to color in this book is this shelf page here. This one actually reminds me of Johanna Basford's, I think it's in Rooms of Wonder. She has a shelf full of potions, and this kind of feels similar to that, but in Lulu Mayo style and with a bunch of kittens involved. I would really love to juxtapose the cuteness of this illustration with maybe some spooky dark color palette. That might be fun to create. Now it's time to get into the intimidating coloring books. Even just looking at these books sitting here next to me, I don't know, I get butterflies in my stomach. But a lot of these books have been on my Amazon wish list for a while, which I always have my Amazon wish list linked in the description below in case you're curious about what's on my radar next. So each one of these books has some sort of element that slightly scares me, intimidates me. Maybe it's just the author themselves that intimidates me. But I finally built up the nerve and decided to add some of these books to my coloring book collection. So the first book is actually one I gave you a sneak peek preview in my ultimate coloring vlog, and it is Christine Caron's Wildflower Folk. I have seen some amazing completed pages in this book, not only from colorists in the community, but also from Christine Caron herself. I think she exclusively uses watercolors to color her pages, which, that is so impressive. And the reason that this book intimidates me is not only because it's full of portraits, which I've never done a portrait before, but it's also grayscale portraits. I have heard that grayscale portraits are slightly easier than, just a normal coloring page portrait. So maybe this book will be a good way for me to dip my toes into that realm. So the 5 pages I'm most excited to color in this book, most of them are water themed because that's just me and my coloring preferences. The first page I've flagged though is actually the cover image, and I definitely will be taking inspiration from that when I color this page. I think it'll be great to have some sort of reference and inspiration when I tackle my first page in this book, and I just love the rainbow hair on the cover page, so I'd love to give that a go for myself. We then have Little Mermaid. I really do think her cherubic kind of child illustrations are absolutely adorable. They kind of remind me of real life Bratz dolls in a way. Bratz dolls with a tints of realism. Maybe I should save this page for Mermaid in the colorist community. Everyone colors mermaids in the month of May. We then have this stunning page here. I have no idea how I would tackle the water elements in the background. It's absolutely gorgeous though. I would really love to know what mediums you guys generally use when you're coloring a Christine Caron book. I mean, obviously you could use watercolors like Christine Caron herself, but I think my plan of attack would just be to base with alcohol markers and then do some additional shading with colored pencil. And then the final 2 pages that I flagged are actually very similar. We have Perla here. I would really love to try and make all of these little dots on this page either look like pearls themselves, or maybe I would try to color them in that dewdrop style that I showed in my recent alcohol marker video. I think that could be fun to turn these into little water droplets. And then we have the water nymph. This one is very similar to that last one that I showed you, but you don't have to worry about the background so much with this one. I could really imagine a kaleidoscope of colors behind the head of this nymph here. Seriously, staring at the pages in this book, even if I never colored these pages, I would be happy to have this book in my collection because the illustrations themselves are just gorgeous to look at. Now, when I came up with this intimidating coloring book haul video concept, there were 2 illustrators that I knew I had to include, one of which was Kirby Rosan's. I have been avoiding his coloring books since the beginning of my coloring book journey, but I know he's such a prolific artist in the coloring community, and I'm finally ready to add one of his books to my collection. It was either going to be Mythomorphia, Imagimorphia, or Worlds Within Worlds, and the book I ultimately ended up with was a Magimorphia. I actually really like the juxtaposition of the, slightly scary, realistic illustrations that have these cartoony elements within them. Because I think what it is about the books like Worlds Within Worlds and his recent book that just came out, Dark Fairy Tales, they are just so realistic to me, and that's not usually my coloring style. So having this realism with a little bit of a cartoony element, I think is going to really help me dip my toe into the Kirby Roseanne's world. So the first page I'm being drawn to color is actually a double page spread, and it's right at the beginning of the book, and it's this swan page here. There is so much going on this page, and I think how I would tackle the doodly elements within these illustrations is either color them the same as the realistic elements so that they kind of blend in, or do them a completely different color. So I could color the swans in a more realistic color scheme, and then color all the doodly elements with a more bright, bold, and unrealistic color scheme so they really pop out against the realistic aspects. I am then a massive fan of both of these pages here, actually. It kind of reminds me of the double page spread that I showed you in Vibrant Wilds, but a much more masculine, intimidating, and scary version of it. And you knew I was gonna pick out this double page spread here because it's got some sort of water element to it. We've got these gorgeous little jellyfish, and I'm pretty sure I've seen this colored on Pinterest before in rainbow colors, and even the background was in rainbow. So I think that's also how I would tackle this double page in my Kira-esque coloring style. And then looking at this double page spread, oh my gosh, it makes my heart race just a little bit. There is so much going on this page, but that's also kind of why I'm attracted to it. I keep saying I'm going to do the monochromatic color challenge soon, and doing that in one of Kirby Roseanne's pages, I don't know if that would be a good idea or a terrible idea. And then the final page that I really like and is drawing my eye is this kind of cuckoo clock here. Is it pronounced cuckoo or cuckoo? Cuckoo? I think it's cuckoo. No, I'm just going to stop. And I can't pinpoint what it is specifically that draws me to this page, but I just like it. And I kind of want to color it, but I'm also very intimidated to color it. I will be honest with you guys, I am contemplating picking up his new book, Dark Fairy Tales. The content matter is so extremely out of my comfort zone, but when I look at flip-throughs of that book, oh my goodness, the illustrations in it are seriously little masterpieces on every page. And even if I never colored in that book, I think it would just be great to have in my collection. And then the second artist that I knew I had to pick a book up from was Hannah Carlzon. She was yet again someone who was never on my radar. Her illustrations never really appealed to me until she released her book, Godule. And it was like all of a sudden something clicked in my brain and all of her books started appealing to me. But at the same time, they still scare the life out of me because they're just illustrations that I've never colored before. They're on that slightly more realistic side, but there's also so many portraits in her book as well, which we know I'm very scared by too. And so the books I was tossing up between from her were Tales from the Witch's Cottage, Tales from the Forest Kingdom, Magical Dawn, and Grains of Gold. And the book I ended up going with was Tales from the Witch's Cottage. If you know me, I love witchy, magical kind of books, and I thought this was a good book for me to start with since it's within the content realm that I really enjoy. And the first illustration that I tabbed in this book is yet again another double page spread. I don't know why I'm tabbing these double page spreads in such intimidating books, but it is this shelf of potions and chests and different magical things. It's kind of like that Lulu Mayo page that I tabbed before, but obviously in a much more Hannah Carlzon style. And I know a lot of people color in this book during the Halloween period, but I honestly think you could color any of these pages at any time of year. The second page I'm really interested in coloring is this one here of the witch brewing some sort of magical potion. I think the reason that I tabbed this one is that I've seen a lot of people color this on Instagram, and what people have been able to create is absolutely phenomenal. A lot of people create a light source within the sort of potion that this witch is making, and I would definitely want to try and do the same. I don't know if I'd be able to pull it off, but if I did, I'd be very impressed with myself. We then have a page that's slightly more within my comfort zone, and it's this flower page here. This is another one that I think you could have a lot of fun with some different light effects on, with all the stars in the background. You could even turn, I don't know what those are dripping from the flowers, but you could turn those into some sort of light source as well. And then I did tab a portrait page in this book. This one's not too scary because the face is on the slightly smaller side, but it is a portrait nonetheless and would definitely test my skin shading skills. And how would you tackle the background for this page? Because her body kind of fades out into the abyss at the bottom there. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need to get some inspiration for that. And then the final page that I tabbed is another double page spread. And this is another one that I've seen colored a lot on Instagram. It is this witch and cat sitting on moons on the opposite side of pages. And there's really so much you could do with this double page spread. You could color the pages similarly, you could color them opposingly, you could add lots of different cloud effects in the background. I have no idea what I'd do, but it's very scary, but also getting my creative juices flowing at the same time. I will say that as soon as the English version of Godule came out for pre-order, I ordered it and I cannot wait for it to come in August. Oh, that's so far away. And then the final book I have to show you in this video is actually a book from an author that I love, but this book really intimidates me because I feel like it's nothing like she's done before. It is Dream Voyage by Melpomene Chattopadhyay. Oh, I love Enchanted Earth. It's one of my favorite coloring books. And so when I knew Melpomene was coming out with a new book, I was anxiously waiting for a flip through on someone's channel so I could see the masterpieces that she was going to create. And I will admit, when I first saw a flip through of the book, I wasn't sure if I liked it. There was just so much going on. But then I watched another flip through and another flip through, and I slowly just fell in love with the illustrations in this book. It really is nothing like she's done before. And you can see what I'm talking about with the first double page that I've tabbed. I don't think I've ever seen a nameplate page like this. How incredible is this double page spread? There are so many little elements, so many details. Every time I look at it, I notice something else. And I'm not usually someone who colors the nameplate page because it doesn't usually spark too much interest for me, and I'd rather color one of the other pages in the book. But this is definitely an exception. Holy moly. The next page I've tabbed is this one here. And this is what I mean by each little page is its own little movie and scene, and I can almost see a story unfolding when I look at the page. We've got fairies, we've got swans, we've got some weird dragon type creature, and then we've got this tiny fairy in the corner here. I mean, how are you supposed to color that? I'm definitely going to have to get out some fine liners or something like that because that is the tiniest detail I've ever seen in any of my coloring books. I've then tabbed this page here where it's this gorgeous ornate ring that has this tiny little forest lighthouse scene within it. This is very reminiscent of her previous illustrations and coloring books and is one of the reasons that I love Enchanted Earth so much, because it's like these little worlds encapsulated within some larger object. I then had to tab this piano scene here because it holds a special place in my heart. I learnt piano growing up as a kid. I don't really play it at all anymore now, but I don't know, whenever I see a piano in an illustration, it just reminds me of my childhood. And yet again, there is so much going on this page. You've got the keyboard behind it. You've got this river at the bottom with a deer, some fairy. I don't even know, that's like a stag woman. There's so much going on, and I feel like this is one of those books where the more you color it, the more elements and details you find as you're coloring the page. And then the final page that I tabbed in this book, and this kind of reminds me of Kirby Roseanne's new book, Dark Fairy Tales. We've got this gorgeously ornate hand at the bottom here, holding this mirror with a tiny scene on the inside. I can just see this page being colored in so many different ways. And that's how I feel about a lot of the pages in this book. There's just so much room for creativity, imagination. And that's also why it's intimidating, because the options are endless. All right, everyone, those are the supplies and books that I've picked up over the last couple of months. Let me know in the comments whether you also find some of these books intimidating. Please let me know, I'm not the only one. And also let me know if there's any of these books that you would like me to color for the first time on the channel. I think I'm most intimidated by the Kirby Roseanne's book. I'm not sure what it is about it, but yeah, I'm scared. Until next time, happy coloring, friends. Have a good day, have a good life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!